Going live, going live, going live. It's Monday, and I am flying solo. My friend Sam is on a boat on her way to Mexico. I think he left Texas. I don't know. But she sent me a snap of what it looks like on the boat, so that's kind of cool. I don't know if I'd ever be on it because I don't know. I've seen too many World War II movies and I just think of torpedoes. Anyway, it is Monday and today we're going to be talking about starting our story. It's kind of a spin-off of last week's topic. Probably going to wind up covering quite a bit of the same stuff, so we're going to give it a few minutes before we jump right in. Time is short tonight, so drink up me hearties, yo-ho. Exactly, drink up me hearties, yo-ho. Unfortunately, I can't because I have to cut the show. We're cutting the show early tonight at 7:45 because I have to go drive to pick up my daughter from her job in the snow. And she doesn't trust herself to drive it, which I don't blame her. Her Fiat's like itty bitty. It doesn't handle snow for shit. So I'm going to be taking the van to drive. It's only half a mile away. Well, about a mile away. A little bit more. So about 2.5 mile round trip. But the van handles the snow way better than that Fiat. So unfortunately, we'll have to cut this off at 7:45. And right now it is -8 degrees here in beautiful Denver. We didn't get a lot of snow. We just got a lot of cold. And when it's cold, even with the sun shining, nothing melts. And so it's not even ice out there. It's just packed snow. So it looks like glass. It's reflective. Anyway, so I'll be drinking water tonight. But anyway, how's everybody's night going so far? We'll get this started here in a moment. Oh, I didn't share it. Oh, well, I forgot. Normally I'll get on Buffer and I'll set to share the video on Facebook and Twitter at the same time. And Buffer should be adding Threads soon, so I'll be able to share to Threads as well. I don't know if that's even going to make a difference, but I've almost got the same number of followers on Threads as I do on Twitter, so considering how it's taken me fucking 8 years for Twitter, no, it's only taken me like 3 months on Threads. Huh. Anyway, when I was her way, I walked to work in through the snow uphill both ways in 115-degree weather. Kids these days, sheesh. Have you been started drinking early? I'm already drunk. Started. Yeah. Well, let's see. When I went to school, I literally walked uphill, not both ways, obviously, but I had to walk down the hill to Gramercy and then up the hill back, and I've done that in the snow, and that was a little bit of an incline. But yeah, I used to ride my bike to work to the IRS, and that was about, from my studio, it was about 4.5 miles, and when I didn't have a bike, I had to walk. And one time I walked in the snow. It was a particularly bad blizzard. I was walking in slush that was knee deep, and I got to work frozen to the core. And as I walked in, there was like somebody sitting there. One of the girls I knew that I worked with looks over at me and says, "I saw you walking." And all I can think is, and you didn't fucking stop. You twat. Got to my desk, put my head down, and that was it. Manager sent me to the nurse's station. I was there for an hour and a half, and they couldn't get my temperature back up. So they sent me home, and I probably should have went to the hospital, but I didn't. I just curled up under a blanket and ate some, like 2 cans of soup and watched TV till I passed out. But I went to work the next day. I still made it. So luckily I didn't get in trouble for it. In fact, I don't even think they took sick time off that either. So it was paid. Anywho, let's see. Apparently I'm drinking for both of us tonight. Well, there you go. As long as you're not mixing it with milk. That's like, I'm having my whiskey here and I was all ready to go. And then Beth asked me all nice this morning if I could drive her because after, last winter she slid on an overpass and kissed the guardrail with her Fiat. Not really too hard, but hard enough to bust the light. And then she wrecked the Kia over the summer, so she's kind of paranoid about driving in bad weather. And I'm like, you know what, baby, I'd rather you be safe. I'll take you. It's only a mile and a half away, so. And then tomorrow I'll probably have to drive her again. Then Wednesday I drive out to Sterling to pick up Ty, and then Friday probably take him out to the airport unless he learns how to ride the bus. Luckily, the weather will be nice by Wednesday, hopefully. It'll be in the double digits. I think the high for Wednesday is like 11. And I guess earlier today it was colder here in Denver than it was in Antarctica. Like, woohoo! Go Colorado. This is the longest stretch of cold that I've had for a while. Normally we'll get quite a bit of snow in February, but this is nuts. Everybody on both sides has got hit like major snow. We're getting little flurries, but it's freaking cold. When I was in second grade, my mom said, if you're not ready for school in 5 minutes, you gotta walk to school in the rain. I came out and she was gone, so I walked in the rain about 2 or 3 miles to school. I was soaked to the bone, shivering, coughing, and sneezing by the time I walked out of school. Mom was pissed when she had to take off work to come get me. I guess I showed her, right? Like, well, if you would have drove me, this might have happened. Oh, checkmate. Oh, anywho, so I guess we can get started. Just kind of wanted to go over starting story ideas. I forgot what I wrote down, so I'm going to look at it real quick. How do you start writing your stories? Do you research the materials first or just dive into? Tonight we'll talk about the beginnings of our stories and some of the things we'd love to accomplish with them. So yeah, kind of a spin-off of last week's. 80s kids, baby. Oh yeah. Growing up in the 80s and 90s, we had to do all kinds of shit on our own. It's below zero here. We have snow and ice. Classes were canceled, and I just been in my house the past few days. I wish I would have just been in my house for the past few days, but no. I was going to drive to Sterling yesterday, but as I was trying to put air in a frozen tire, the stem snapped, so I had to, and there was this little leak going, so I had to take it, drove all the way out to Walmart. They didn't have the size of tire I needed, so I had to spend $250 at Costco to get a new tire and a new sensor installed because the stem snapped in half. So I spent, $250, and 4 hours later, I was able to come home. So I'm driving everywhere in my pajamas. That was great. Actually, I was supposed to just, I took Sam to the airport at 3:30. By the time I wound down, it was 5 a.m. I got 4 hours of sleep. Then the plan was to head out to Sterling. But as I got out there and tried to put air in my tire, snap. I've never seen a stem snap in half like that. That was crazy. Did you get the pictures? No. I didn't get any pictures. Oh, maybe I did. How come it didn't chime at me? Is the volume down? No? Huh. Oh, hey. Well, the top one looks like, is that almost looks like a Big Mac with 2 extra patties on it. I'd eat it. I like Big Macs though. Sue me. And the chicken wings looks good, but it looks like the, what's that sauce? The buffalo sauce. I don't like the buffalo sauce. It just tastes weird to me. I don't like it. So I'd probably still eat it just because I love chicken, but I'm just not a big fan of the buffalo sauce. But yeah, the burger, definitely. I'd kill it. Looks like a double Big Mac or something. Sam is stuffed and drunk as fuck right now. Good for her. Probably. She's on the boat. What time is it now? So 8. Might be about 9 o'clock there. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure where they're going or what the route they're taking, but yep. I was hoping for more pictures from Snap from her, but at least I got the ass end of the boat leaving port. So whatever. Let's see. With writing stories, do research helps make sure that the story you are trying to tell makes sense, even with sci-fi fiction story? Yeah, that's a good question. We need way more people to see all this cheaper porn pics Patrick always sends. Well, I'm gonna try. Hold on a second, Neil. I'll answer your question here in a moment because I like that question. So let me see if I can show it. I don't know how well it'll show on camera. That would be that would be awesome. What if there's a way I could tie it into Discord? Because if it's on Discord or anything on the on my computer, I can share it. Let's see. Kinda. Oh, see, it's too dark. There we go. Yeah. See, it looks like a Big Mac. When it's at full brightness, it washes out. Yeah, I wonder if I can figure that out. I mean, I could. God, that's taking the same route. Save that picture into my photos, upload it to Google, and then share the Google screen. Kind of roundabout way of doing it. Anyway. Do you determine the theme to your story, or do you let the writing determine it for you overall? Okay, let's start with the first one. Doing research first. Like with my fantasy book, most of that world came out of my head. That was a lot of, I guess, a lot of background playing Dungeons and Dragons and role-playing games and stuff like that. So a lot of it was just me tweaking a lot of things from all the role-playing games and whatnot. I did spend 3 days researching the horse scene, Chris. So I spent 3 days researching on whether a thoroughbred can make a certain amount of distance in a specific amount of time. And that was a lot of fun, actually. I learned quite a bit about horses that I never knew before. But when I wrote Kingmaker, I didn't need too much research to it because a lot of it was in my head. But this new book that I'm writing for the Readsy Masterclass is a dark western, so it's set in Atlantic City in 1874. Well, I don't know shit about the East Coast, let alone 1874. So I had to do a lot of research at the very beginning, just to get the ambiance right, and I still have a lot of stuff to do. Like every time I write, I have Google open and I researched a ton of stuff. One of my most disappointing parts of the book, though, was that I wanted a 50 caliber lever action rifle. Well, they didn't have a lever action rifle that was a 50 caliber until 2 years after the book. So, like, son of a bitch. So I did find Springfield does make a 50 caliber for 1872, if I remember right. So that's in the book, not the lever action one, though. It's kind of a bummer, but it is what it is. I wanted to be realistic. So with the new book, I spent a lot of time looking up Atlantic City, its founding, every conceptual drawing from 1874. I learned a lot about the boardwalk from Atlantic City. Was built 2 years before my book takes place, and it was only 8 feet long, is so that they can stop people from dragging sand into the hotels. Yeah, so I've learned quite a bit about it, but I did start a lot of research before I even started writing the new book. So it really depends. I did a bit of research when I started at the beginning and the end. Predator and Prey was purely out of my head. So was 7. 7 was just more therapeutic than anything. But I guess it really depends on the story, really. Let's see. Do you determine the theme to your story, or do you let the writing determine it for you overall? A lot of times I will. I gravitate to dark everything. Like this book is more like if a dark Western that would be a mixture of supernatural, Sherlock Holmes, and I can't really think of a good one from back then. Van Helsing, I guess, the movie. But the theme of it was just, I don't know what happened. It just, it was based off of The Crate on Vocal, and I wanted to do something more with that. And so it just jumped out at me. So I decided to write a dark Western. And so yeah, that was the theme to that. And then it just, like, I'll come up with so like I have an idea for a fan fiction for Fallout, the Fallout universe. It's a game, and I'll be writing that as soon as everything else is done. But that one I already have an idea for too. So yeah, it just really depends. Sometimes it just flows. Like for the most part, it's like I know what I want to write. I want to write, like with Kingmaker, I guess that was more of an addition to something I've already have out there. I don't want to spoil it, but the original to it was I think that one God, that was a while ago. When I first came up with the idea for it, I was still living in Westminster. So I don't know. I gravitate towards the dark, gothic horror and stuff like that. So that's usually my theme. Everything dies. Mostly main characters. The horse scene. I told you that you needed a map. Oh God, yes. I'm still looking for a way to make a map for it. So I can't wait to read the Reedsy book, especially after The Crate. That's going to be a fun read. It's been a fun write. Like I wrote a bunch of it yesterday. I haven't had a chance to write today because everything just kind of blew up in my face. But the story for this one's coming along very nicely, and I really, really enjoy it. And apparently everybody else does too. The instructor loves how I write. And well, I shared the comment that he says that it's nice that he can tell that I know what I'm doing. And he just pointed out a bunch of things that I usually fix after the first draft. And as soon as I sent it to him, like I started 2 sentences back to back with the word still, STIL. And as soon as I sent it to him, I looked over at it and I saw it and it jumped out at me. I'm like, oh, fuck. Oh, well. There's a guy that's edited this last snippet. He pointed out that I do a lot of redundancies. I'm like, yeah, I know. Every time I write a new book, there's a ton of redundancies. I go through and clean them all up. So, but he says he liked it too. He's very intrigued by the snippet that he read. It was a conversation between 2 characters. And even though it was a snippet, there was still quite a bit of information in that 1,000 words that kind of gave him hints as to what the book is about. So he liked what he read. So, but yeah, the new book has been really awesome. I'm going to start working on naming it, at least give it a project name. I think I have a couple ideas, and I wrote about it in my Substack. So I'm going to toy with that this week. Let's see, with the main character, they have a goal that they want to accomplish. How do you determine what obstacles they face in order to get what they want? Actually, the story just takes a life of its own. You start off a character with wants and needs. The first half of the book is usually what they want, and the last half is what they need. And with this one, it was more of he has a specific goal he wants to accomplish. And the way I'm writing it, the way I want to write this new Dark Western series is more of a mystery, where it's from the main character's point of view, so third person, purely third person view from his point of view. And so all of his thoughts and all that are related to him. There's no omnipotence third person, so that you don't know what everybody else is thinking, and you follow him along as he's finding all these different clues and shit. And so it's been a lot of fun. I know somebody who said they hated writing mysteries. I think it's fun as hell. I'm enjoying it a lot. So what I do is every time it comes across something that points to how it's going to end, I make a note later on in the book, so that way I remember that he's going to reference that. So but when it comes to the obstacles, like when I was writing Kingmaker, I was just trying to think of what would be the worst week of someone's life in a fantasy world. So I threw everything at him. I made his life a living hell. But he got through everything, and mostly. And I don't know, it just and then the part with Claire, it's hard to explain. It just, as I'm writing, if my brain says, okay, let's do this. We're going to throw this in there. The original idea didn't have Claire, and that came about halfway through, and I thought, you know what, I want to do something else with this, because Kingmaker wasn't going to be a series at first, and the more I wrote about it, the more I started putting it all together, and then I thought, you know what, I'm going to link this with something. And so I started connecting a bunch of different things together, and yeah, it turned out to be quite a fun book, I think. But as for obstacles they face, it's more, yeah, it's just whatever I'll be writing, and then something happens and I just put it in. I'm merely the narrator. They fuck themselves up. Or do you determine that it is best that the main character not get what they want? I love misdirection, and so I'll make you think that he's going to get what he wants, and then pull the rug out. I'm trying to, like, what's a good example? I guess the new book. He will eventually get what he wants, but he's going to have to jump through a ton of hoops to get there. I'm not just going to give it to him. So, do you pick a point of view that you are good at, or one that is best for the story? One that is best for the story, absolutely. With Kingmaker and the Witchem series, it's all going to be third-person omnipotence, so that you get everybody's thoughts and feelings and whatnot throughout the entire book. There's just so much going on that doing it from a single third-person point of view or first-person point of view would just be kind of, it wouldn't bring the story together, I don't think, with Witchem. But with this new book, because it is a mystery, third-person singular is much better, because then there's far more mystery to it, and you don't know what everybody else is thinking, only what the main character's going through. And so it really depends on the book and how you want to lay it out. I can't say as a novel writer, but with comic strips, once I have my characters fleshed out, I just put them in situations, sit back and watch what happens. Yeah, exactly. Like, hey, I'm going to throw some cannibals in front of you. Good luck. So, I think the only characters in Michael's stories who get what they want are the characters who want pain and suffering and death. Damn near. Oh, and tragedy. Kinda. I have a habit of killing people off. But I also believe in the good guy doesn't always win. And so I think I take that a little to extreme. I don't think good guys ever win in my books. No, I can't say that. Eventually they will. But yeah, I like, really, I know it's kind of fucked up to say, but I like getting people to the point where they really like a character and then kill them in the most horrific way possible. I want to make somebody cry. That's my goal. Outside of beta readers, how do you determine what seems realistic for the story, aside from through the research? Well, the research definitely plays the biggest role for making something realistic in for the when you show don't tell, when you're doing the imagery for the story, research definitely plays the biggest role. But as for being realistic, like with my dialogue, I will actually read it out loud. It's the same thing I do for despair. When I read it out loud, I can catch all kinds of grammatical errors, or if a sentence doesn't sound right when I'm saying it, it's not going to read right in someone's mind. So I'll often change the sentence layout. But to be as realistic as possible, I try to view it cinematically. And like, what would this scene look like if it was a movie? I really need to shut down my email when I start live streams. I keep forgetting. But so yeah, I go through and read it out loud, especially the dialogue. And I don't know. That's why I'm like really perplexed at that one reviewer who said my characters were robotic. Like, I don't see it. Like, I get that everybody, like, reviews are subjective, but that's a head scratcher. So, but anyway, that's how I try to get things as realistic as possible. Like, if you can make it real to the reader in their mind, that's what matters. If I ever write a novel, the title will be "Everybody Dies." I think there's already a book or a movie that says everybody dies, or somebody dies at the end. Is there? I'm probably sure there is. I'm not sure. But yeah. So yeah, that's when I start. Like with this newest book. It'll be hopefully finished next month, so you guys, beta readers, will be able to read through it. So with this one, I took all my knowledge of every storm movie I've ever seen and tried to feed that into the very beginning of it. So, is there such a thing as too little or too many obstacles? Yes. You don't want it to be too easy, but you don't want it to be too difficult. Of course, it really depends on how you get your character from point A to point B. And you have to make those obstacles realistic. And you also, the biggest thing is to make your characters what's realistic for that character. We had a conversation on Threads the other day on whether do you use curse words in your manuscripts. And my response was, if it is in line with that character. In Kingmaker, there's only one F-bomb in the whole thing. That was because he was pissed. Fury has a few more, but the characters that are saying it are a little on the colorful side. But it really depends on the character's demeanor and nature. And so, like, you wouldn't stick a priest out there who's a really staunch priest and have him cussing up a storm. You'd want your mannerisms and dialogue to be realistic to the actual character itself. The same could be said for any obstacles that come through it. Like, I'm trying to think of a good example. Too many obstacles might make it to where if he does get to point B, then it wouldn't be realistic. Lakeisha Gadsden says, do you all know how long it takes to publish a book or a magazine? If you self-publish it, took me 2 years for Kingmaker. I'm hoping to have Fury done before then, but really depends on if you're going to self-publish or if you're going traditional. Traditional publishing houses will take much longer. Of course, I should have probably taken a little bit longer because my book cover has come out crappy twice now. I got the books if you guys want them. No one's replied yet. Send me an email to mBrockbank@WriterSanctuary.com. For you people on the Buy Me a Coffee monthly members, that I do have the paperbacks, but the print is so freaking dark. I'm going to remake them and reprint some more. So if you want one of the lighter ones, let me know. If you want just one of the darker ones, then I'll sign it and I'll mail it out to you. But It really depends on self-publishing or if you're going through a publishing house. I know that some smaller publishers can get stuff out a lot faster, but I know a lot of trad published authors who are excited about their debut books coming out. They've already submitted it, edited it, and all that good stuff. They'll be out in 2025. Like, that is so fucking long down the road. I'd rather just do it myself. But it is what it is. That's one of the biggest reasons why I prefer self-publishing, because I don't have to wait. I can just do it. Unfortunately, you also have to mess with Amazon's printing issues, which is something I want to try fixing this year, but yeah, it really depends. In fact, one of the things I want to do after I get these 3 books published this year is, can I write and publish a decent book in 90 days? That's going to be a fun challenge. I'm going to have to, I probably won't blog that week or those 3 months, but I want to see if I can do it. So, is there a balance between a character being too soft or too hard, isolated, or too social? Not really. It really depends on the story layout. You can have extremes of the spectrum as long as it's realistic to the story or relevant to the story. In the new book, one of my characters is quite isolated. He's not really isolated, but he is very standoffish. Where on the other hand, the secondary character that's with him is far more social and more lighthearted. So they kind of contrast each other. And that's one things that you want is contrasting elements in your book. And so they contrast each other quite nicely, and they're the way they talk to each other is much different. And so it really depends on the overall flow of your book. But if you don't want characters that are too soft, though, I don't know. For me, I would want to put something in the middle, unless I plan on killing them off. that would make somebody really soft, and they're going to die in the first few chapters. So, or if somebody's too hard, just kill them off anyway. For a collection of short stories, what would be a good number to have in one book? God, I hate saying this, but that also depends on the length that you want to write. Okay, so here's two really good examples of my favorite books. Night Shift by Stephen King, which is on my shelf behind me. There's about 20 stories in that book. It's about this thick, not about this thick. And they range everywhere from, I want to say, about 10 pages per chapter to, I think the longest one may be 15 or 20. But there's 20 stories in that book. Then you have 4 Past Midnight, which only has 4 stories in it. And Word Processor of the Gods is awesome. And that's an entire book that only has 4. So really depends on how far you want to dive into each story and how long you want the book. Like, I want to do an anthology eventually of short stories. And I'm probably going to aim between 100 and 120,000 words, depending. And I think that's a decent size for a book. I know that some authors have anthologies out there that range in the 200 to 300,000 words area. You can also separate your anthology into parts to make it better and more consumable. So, like, you can have part 1 be one genre, part 2 be another genre. Oh, that's kind of a good idea. I'm gonna have to do that now, because I've always wanted to write an every genre book. But if you can separate your book into parts, that might help. But as for a good number, there's really no right or wrong answer. It just really depends on how deep you want to go into each story and how long you want your book. Tales of Ravenloft, which is another one of my favorite books that I had that got ruined by a flood. I think that one had like 9 or 10 in it, but they were fairly long. Think of another good one. God, I can't really think of any more. Like, my favorite is Night Shift. 1972. In fact, I have the original copy behind me. 10-minute warning. Oh, no shit. All right, well, thank you for reminding me there, Neil. I would have... Poor Arabeth would be sitting at work. I told her that if I'm not there, then to wait in the store, and I'll text her when I show up. So, alrighty. God, it seems like we didn't really cover very much tonight. It's weird having a 45-minute show as opposed to an hour and a half. Is there anything else anybody wants to ask real quick? I really wanted to dive more into this. Starting your stories and all that good stuff. I'm hoping it at least help somebody out there. I'm sorry that my responses were pretty much, it depends. But that's just it. It does really depend on your target audience and what you want to write. Okay, comments are closed. Trying to help you stay on topic and keep the time. Thank you very much, Neil. That actually helps quite a bit. And I hope that I hope I answered your question. God, I wish I could stay and talk more about it. Put you all on hold and be back in about 10 minutes. You can stare at an empty chair. Oh, you know what? If I was using Streamlabs, I could have switched to the screen for be back in a minute. Or be right back is what the screen is. It's animated. But I'm not, So last week's card was, today I will persevere. Today nothing will worry me. All my problems will pass in time. I took notes. Oh, that's awesome. I'm glad, Neil. I tried. All right. This week's card is... Shouldn't be running. Technically she gets off at 8, so... And it's not that far away. If I run a little bit late, then I'll probably still be there before she gets off work. Okay, so this week's card is, today I will look ahead. Today I will see my future. It is a beautiful life I'm looking forward to. That's a little on the touchy-feely side, but fuck it, we're going to stick with it because that's our thing this year. No more trades. Roll around with it. I totally did not follow last week's card. Maybe I'll do better this week. So today, that's all. We will look ahead. Today, I will see my future. It is a beautiful life I'm looking forward to. Mine is. I always look ahead. Keep moving forward. Never give up. Never surrender. I'll be at the stream tomorrow night. No class. If I decide to do one, remember, Sam's in Mexico. I might just get on just so that we can hang out and drink because I won't have to go anywhere. Hopefully. Oh, man, if she works the same time tomorrow, that's going to suck. I mean, 2 streams I didn't drink. Son of a bitch. I'll drink when I get home. Anywho, does anybody else have any questions, comments, concerns right now before we call it a night? I'm looking ahead, but minus being stressed about it. There you go. Like I told Arabeth the other day, there's no sense in stressing over something you can't fix or you can't control. And that's how I live life. There's no sense in stressing about something you cannot change. All you can do is work to do your best to never do it again. My future's so bright, I gotta wear shades. Make $50,000 a year. When that song came out, $50,000 a year was quite a bit of money. Now you make that at McDonald's. So, I like touchy-feely. Well, there you go. That one's kind of touchy-feely. We can do that one. We're doing this card. I see it. It is a beautiful life I'm looking forward to. Mine is. I'm looking forward to it. I look forward to every year. See your future. Be your future. Anywho, I think we're gonna wrap this up. Oh, I got about 5 minutes. So, goddamn. See, Neo got me all jumping here. I can give you. What? Can you give me a writer's blog? Mine, WriterSanctuary.com. I'm going to be covering more self-publishing stuff this year. Trying to think, I haven't been following a lot of specific writing blogs that are to self-publishing or publishing. Most of the blogs I've been following lately have been blogging or freelancing, and I want to start changing that this year. And so yeah, at the moment, I don't really have a lot, aside from the authors that I follow. It's going to be a bright, 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 sun-shining day. It's a beautiful life. Are we all just going to sing random songs now, or what? But yeah, I'm looking forward to doing a lot more on WriterSanctuary.com this year for self-publishing stuff. So, in fact, that seems to be where a lot of the traffic is coming from, especially with the apps that I use. The Readsy writing app is getting all of the articles for Readsy are taking off, and I would like to get more in for Scrivener and Atticus this year, as well as AutoCrit. I've been playing around with AutoCrit the last few weeks, and if it wasn't for having to buy a tire yesterday, I would have bought the premium service of AutoCrit so I can give it a proper review, and I'll be doing that soon. That'll be for the blog and the YouTube channel. And from what I've seen, AutoCrit, I don't like its writing platform. It's too much like Atticus. I'm not a big fan of Atticus's writing platform either. But the statistic stuff, the reporting is kind of cool. So you can pit your works against like Stephen King and Anne Rice, comparing how your layout is versus theirs. So how much of your text is dialogue versus how much is theirs, and the average number of adverbs you use in a paragraph and stuff like that. It's kind of neat if you like data, which I do. But there is an AI aspect to it that I probably will never use because I don't do AI in anything. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day for a neighbor. Could you be mine? Won't you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor? Hi, neighbor. Did you pay for the Readsy writing class? I don't know if I should say yes or no to that. Anyway. So, but after I've been through it, there's somebody brought up something on Threads today. They were saying like, don't pay for high-priced master classes. Everything you can get through a Google search. All I can think is, yeah, but the point of the master class is to combine all that shit into one spot, so you don't have to go searching for it. I can tell you, there's a massive difference between a class versus doing the research for each point yourself. Like, I would have never have thought to look up adverbs. I would have never have thought to look up, like today we did foreboding and stuff. I normally do foreboding anyway. I'm a big fan of that kind of stuff, so I do a lot of hints throughout the book, and I like guiding the reader to a certain point where they think they know where the story's going, but it's not. So I've been doing that most of my life. But there's a lot of stuff that is in this masterclass that I would have never have thought to Google. And so I saw one on Instagram and it's $1,200. Yeah, that's about right for each of the courses. I'm not sure about like masterclass, the website. I know there's one on there that was like $90, but I'm not sure how much was into it. This one that I'm taking is very detailed and very in-depth. So I don't know. I'm a big fan of taking classes and courses of any kind. And for someone to say, you can find all that stuff on Google, and yeah, you can, but you're going to get far less out of it. And so, I don't know. I'm a big fan of supporting creators, and when someone puts together a decent course, yeah, I'll jump into it. But I will like I'm saving my overall review of the Easy Writing course until after the final week, which is in February, and then I'll do a full-on review on whether it's worth the money or not. But aside from that, if somebody would have put together a course on how to do AP style writing, that would have saved me 1.5 years worth of research. So yeah, sometimes it is worth the money. I'm pretty sure FCC regulation require you that you say yes if the answer is yes. Only if they were paying me for these videos, which they are not. It's not an ad. So nah. If it was an ad, or if it was an advertisement, I'd have to say. If there was an ad, or if they were if there was a promotion, and it's neither one. So I don't have any sponsors. Who the hell would want to sponsor this train wreck? Anyway. Okay, let's wrap this up. I gotta have to go pick up my daughter. Thank you guys for watching. Remember, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can always hit me up on Twitter, Facebook, Threads, and definitely YouTube. I answer just about everything that comes my way. I get a notification immediately, and I try to respond to them as fast as I can. You can also use the contact form on WriterSanctuary.com's website, and those get sent to me directly. Don't forget that A Freelancer's Tale and my newest book, Kingmaker, are both available on Amazon. The link is in the description down below. Freelancer's Tale is a story about how I got started as a freelance writer all the way to what I do today, all while dealing with one of the darkest depressions of my life. And then Kingmaker is a dark fantasy tale set in a fantastic world of badness. I really liked my book. I'm really loving Fury. I like about everything I write. Of course, what writer doesn't? If you don't like what you write, don't write it. So anyway, yeah. So, anywho, I derailed myself on my outro. And I haven't been drinking. Have a good week, everybody. And don't forget that I will be on Crossing Colorado's YouTube channel tomorrow for our podcast. Probably won't be a podcast episode. It'll just be us hanging out, drinking, and talking about losing weight. Yeah, because I had a horrible week. So, but I will be on tomorrow at 7. So yeah, I'm telling you, this is going to be a really, really bad week. And I thought last week was going to be hard. I need a vacation. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I love you, and I will see you next time.